I think I'll call this segment The Bible with Bedhead. I woke up this morning and it was like an hour before I knew anyone would get up, and so I decided to come into my prayer closet and try to be inspired in some way toward God, and found myself, a lot of people have been coming to me about the Bible or what God has to say lately, and I've been getting all sorts of signs and synchronicities pointing me toward getting with my Christian God and figuring some things out. So this morning, knowing that I had nowhere to be and nothing to do, I opened up my Bible. I have this beautiful Bible that my in-laws gave me. It has the NIV and the Message parallel to each other on the same pages. So, because normally when I'm in this closet, I'm doing some sort of communing with spirit over the cards, I decided to look up like prophecy, divination, and the first thing that I came to was Deuteronomy 18:18, which says, no, Deuteronomy, oh, here we are. Deuteronomy 9. This, in the NIV, this is entitled Occult Practices, though the word occult doesn't appear in the Bible except in the man-made titles. When you enter the land the Lord your God is giving you, do not learn to imitate the detestable ways of the nations there. Let no one be found among you who sacrifices their son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft, or casts spells, or who is a medium or spiritist, or who consults the dead. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord. Because of these same detestable practices, the Lord your God will drive out those nations before you. You must be blameless before the Lord your God. And I'm like, no wonder people keep trying to get me to read this. They want me to see what it says. I tend to read, instead of proof texting, which is looking to the Bible to build evidence in a case, or looking to any text for evidence instead of for what the text is actually communicating, like looking for specific words to support an argument, that's proof texting. I tend to read the whole book or the whole chapter to try to gain some context. These are specifically messages being given to this Deuteronomy 18 begins, the Levitical priests, that's the entire tribe of Levi, don't get any land inheritance with the rest of Israel. Oh, that was in the Message version. But that's basically the same thing. It's talking to specifically the Levitical priests. So I was like, okay, let me look for something else. Not to make myself feel better, but like for clarification, because this can't be the only thing that people are pointing me to. So I went back to, well, first I looked to see if there was any instances of the word occult, and there's no instances. So I know that occult practices as a subtitle is just something that NIV did for clarity. But if you look up the word occult, like if you just Google it and get the definition, it just talks about like strange practices outside of the norm. It doesn't necessarily mean one thing or another, but it has a very negative connotation. English teacher mode, sorry about that. So then I looked up like all the different words for prophecy and things like that, and prophets and things like that. And finally I landed on, okay, I'll look up divination. Because people are like, no divination. So I decided to look it up. And it does say in Leviticus 18:19, I believe it is. Where is it? Oh, no. Leviticus 20. It says in Leviticus 20, 26, don't practice divination or sorcery. It also says in 20:31 in Leviticus, don't dabble in the occult or traffic with mediums, you'll pollute your souls. I am God, your God. And I'm like, oh, that's very convincing. So what I think is important is to read the whole section. Now that was in the Message. It's basically the same. I'm going to stick in the Message. It's on the right side. I don't know. I like it. But I'm going to start with the section that in Leviticus 19. Oh, that was in Leviticus 19. So I'm going to start at the beginning of Leviticus 19. Okay, so that was 19 those. Okay, I'm just going to read it from the beginning. I am God, your God, is what the Message section titles this. 19:1. God spoke to Moses. Speak to the congregation of Israel. Tell them, be holy, because I, God, your God, am holy. Every one of you must respect his mother and father. Keep my Sabbaths. I am God, your God. Don't take up with no god idols. Don't make gods of cast metal. I am God, your God. When you sacrifice a peace offering to God, do it as you've been taught, so it's acceptable. Eat it on the day you sacrifice it and the day following. Whatever is left until the third day is to be burned up. If it is eaten on the third day, it is polluted meat and not acceptable. Whoever eats it will be held responsible because he has violated what is holy to God. That person will be cut off from his people. So don't eat meat 3 days after it's died. When you harvest your land, don't harvest right up to the edges of your field or gather the gleanings from the harvest. Don't strip your vineyard bare or go back and pick up the fallen grapes. Leave them for the poor and the foreigner. I am God, your God. Don't steal. Don't lie. Don't deceive anyone. Don't swear falsely using my name, violating the name of your God. I am God. Don't exploit your friend or rob him. Don't hold back the wages of a hired hand overnight. It doesn't say 2 weeks. Don't curse the deaf. Don't put a stumbling block in front of the blind. Fear your God. I am God, aka build infrastructure. Don't pervert justice. Don't show favoritism to either the poor or the great. Judge on the basis of what is right. Don't pervert justice. Don't show favoritism to either the poor or the great. Judge on the basis of what is right. Don't spread gossip or rumors. Don't just stand by when your neighbor's life is in danger. I am God. Don't secretly hate your neighbor. If you have something against him, get it out into the open. Otherwise, you are an accomplice in his guilt. Don't seek revenge or carry a grudge against any of your people. Love your neighbor as yourself. I am God. Keep my decrees. Don't mate 2 different kinds of animals, like a golden doodle. Don't plant your fields with 2 kinds of seed. Don't have a personal garden then. Don't wear clothes woven of 2 kinds of material. No synthetics mixed together. No partial polyester, partial cotton. If a man has sex with a slave girl who is engaged to another man, but has not yet been ransomed or given her freedom, there must be an investigation. Under all of these particular circumstances, there must be an investigation for having sex with a slave girl. But they aren't to be put to death because she wasn't free. Don't put the slave girl to death for getting raped because she wasn't free to begin with. The man must bring a compensation offering to God at the entrance to the tent of meeting, a ram of compensation for the sin he has committed. Then he will stand forgiven of the sin he committed. When you enter the land and plant any kind of fruit tree, don't eat the fruit for 3 years. Consider it inedible. By the 4th year, its fruit is holy, an offering of praise to God. Beginning in the 5th year, you can eat its fruit. You'll have richer harvest this way. I am God, your God. Don't eat meat with blood in it. Don't practice divination or sorcery. Don't cut the hair on the sides of your head or trim your beard. Don't gash your bodies on behalf of the dead. Don't tattoo yourselves. I am God. Don't violate your daughter by making her a whore. The whole country would soon become a brothel filled with sordid sex. Keep my Sabbaths and revere my sanctuary. I am God. Don't dabble in the occult or traffic with mediums. You'll pollute your souls. I am God, your God. Show respect to the aged. Honor the presence of an elder. Fear your God. I am God. When a foreigner lives with you in your land, don't take advantage of him. Treat the foreigner the same as a native. Love him like one of your own. Remember that you were once foreigners in Egypt. I am God, your God. Don't cheat when measuring length, weight, or quantity. Use honest scales and weights and measures. I am God, your God. I brought you out of Egypt. Keep all my decrees and all my laws. Yes, do them. I am God. I said all this to say, I go to my Bible in the wee hours of the morning. I love my Lord. I don't push Jesus down the throat of people on my channel because not everybody believes that, but everyone deserves messages from source. I'm here to deliver the highest possible messages from God on high with my skills and gifts. And until people stop eating medium rare steaks, and until people stop trafficking children and putting them in cages in the United States of America, please, please don't worry about my soul. Please pray for the 45th President of the United States and the Republican candidate in this race to be delivered from the abundance of Levitical laws they're breaking in their behavior, and then the pollution. If you want to talk about being polluted by people who speak with the dead, let's talk about their dead hearts and the way they're polluting us. Okay? We are all God's people. We all get the message a different way. Please enjoy whatever form of God truly speaks with you. And I am just so blessed and grateful that I can go to my Bible or my Golden Girls playing cards and get messages that God has been communicating to me my whole life. This is my ministry. Be blessed.